Hey guys, what's up? I am back with another video. So in this video, we're doing the speed test comparison between the iPhone 14 Pro Max versus the Samsung Galaxy 22 Ultra. And Samsung S22 Ultra is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 SoC with a 12 GB of RAM, while the iPhone 14 Pro Max is powered by Apple A16 Bionic SoC with 6 GB of RAM. On the back, we have quad cameras on the Samsung versus a triple cameras on the iPhone. And the iPhone 14 Pro Max has a new 48 megapixel f1.8 aperture with a sensor shift OIS main camera. Then we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 12 megapixel telephoto lens, which give you a 3x optical zoom with OIS, while the Samsung, on the other hand, we have 108 megapixel f1.8 aperture with optical image separation main camera with a laser autofocus, 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 10 megapixel telephoto lens, which give you a 3x optical zoom with OIS. We also have another 10 megapixel telephoto periscope lens, which give you a 10x optical zoom with OIS. And the back on both phones is made up of glass. We have a dual ion glass on the iPhone versus a Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on the Samsung, and the frame of the Samsung is made up of aluminum, while iPhone 14 Pro Max has a stainless steel frame. So on the bottom, no headphone jack on both these devices, and with the Samsung S22 Ultra we are getting S Pen, as you can see, which is a really unique feature in the segment which you don't find in the iPhones. Also, we have a stereo speakers on both phones, so both phones also has IP68 water and dust resistance. We have wireless charging support and a reverse wireless charging with the Samsung, which you don't find with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So let's see which one is faster when it comes of the speed wise. So let's quickly boot both of these phones up at the same time. So logos came up first on the Samsung, and iPhone is running on iOS 16.3, while my Samsung S22 Ultra unfortunately is running on Android 12 with One UI 4.1. So while I'm talking, the iPhone 14 Pro Max is faster when it comes to booting up. Samsung also done as well. So we have 4 or 5 second difference between these two devices when it comes to booting up. Now let's talk about the displays between these two devices. So iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 6.7 inch Super Retina XDR with a ProMotion display, which has a 2000 nits of peak brightness, while on the other hand, Samsung S22 Ultra has a 6.8 inch Quad HD Plus Dynamic AMOLED with LTPO 120Hz refresh rate. Also, and this is a curved display, so you can see it feels more premium in the hand as compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which has a completely flat frame. Also, we have a center punch hole on the Samsung S22 Ultra versus a dynamic island on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and the display, it is miles better on the Samsung as compared to the iPhone. But in terms of the brightness, the iPhone 14 Pro Max is taking the lead in that area. We have Corning Gorilla Glass Victus versus a ceramic shield on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So now let's see apps opening speed. So guys, everything's closed up in the background, no application is running in the background. Also, we have same Wi-Fi network on both phones. So now let's start off with the phone dialer. That is very similar. Again, you guys are the judge of the speed test. I know Samsung S23 series also launched, but anyways, now let's open settings. That is very similar. So now let's go to the display. So we have adaptive 120Hz refresh rate, which is also available on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So we have limit frame rate option. So now check out some more apps. So now let's open Amazon Shopping with same Wi-Fi network. So Samsung S22 Ultra is a tiny bit faster. I did not expect that. So now let's see scrolling, and that is feels really smooth on both phones. 120Hz is working absolutely fine, while Samsung has a really fast scrolling speed versus a slow scrolling speed on the iPhone, but no jitters on both phones. Now let's open this. That is very similar. Scrolling again, really smooth. So now check out some games application. Now let's start off with the Candy Crush Saga. So Candy Crush, it is faster on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, as you can see. Now let's open Instagram, faster on the Samsung. So now let's see Pinout. Pinout is very similar on both phones. Again, you guys are the judge of the speed test. So now let's open Snapchat. That one faster on the Samsung. Now let's see Spotify. That is similar. So now let's see Subwoofer. So A16 and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Samsung is taking the lead most of the time, but this time not a single difference between these two devices. And guys, also you can see the display designs on both phones. Samsung is way ahead in that area. So let me show the speakers on both phones. First on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. And here is the Samsung S22 Ultra. So the speakers I like on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which has a lot more bass as compared to the Samsung dual speakers. So iPhone is taking the lead in that area. So now let's opening up the Temper 2. And Temper 2 faster on the Samsung S22 Ultra. Both phones is on latest versions, but Samsung is a tiny bit faster. I will call this draw on both phones because we have different versions, but both phones is on the latest software. So now let's open this big game which is called as PUBG Mobile. So A16 should take the lead, as you can see. So we have a 2 or 3 second difference. Also in that game we have smooth graphics with 90 fps with the iPhone 14 Pro Max versus a smooth graphics with extreme frame rate with the Samsung. So the gaming experience, it is miles better on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, one of the best I would say in the industry. So now let's opening up the Twitter, that one faster on the Samsung. Now let's open Zedge, and that one it is super faster on the Samsung S22 Ultra. iPhones always open the Zedge app very slow as compared to Android phones. Scrolling feels really smooth on both phones. So last I'm launching the cameras. So let's see which one is faster in that area. So camera, it is open up faster on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and regarding the camera performance wise, the iPhone 14 Pro Max overall is a better phone in terms of the camera wise, but Samsung also has a lot more features which you don't find in the iPhone. So now let's look at the front-facing camera. So Samsung has a 40 megapixel selfie camera while iPhone has a 12 megapixel with autofocus. So iPhone selfie camera also much wider as compared to the Samsung. Now check out internet browsing speed. I am seeing for Samsung internet browser with the Samsung versus a Safari internet browser on the iPhone. So now let's open apple.com. That is super quick on the Samsung S22 Ultra. iPhone is little slow. Scrolling feels absolutely smooth on both phones. No jitters, anything like that. So next on the list is the Samsung.com. Let's see which one is faster. So Samsung is way faster, as you can see. iPhone is still loading. Now it is also done as well. Still loading. Now it is done. So now let's see, scrolling feels buttery smooth on both phones. Again, Samsung has fast scrolling speed, I would say. So now check out RAM management on both phones. So S22 Ultra has a 12 GB of RAM while iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 6 GB of RAM with iOS 16.3. Let's see who is performed good in the RAM management. We have a lot of apps in the background, and keep that in mind. My Samsung S22 Ultra is running on Android 12 with Samsung One UI 4.1. Android 13 it is not received on this unit because of the region issue. So phone dialer, that is still there. Settings, Amazon shopping, still there. Let's see, Candy Crush Saga, still there on both phones. Instagram, Pinout, Snapchat, Spotify, Subway Surfer. So RAM management looks really good on both phones. So let's see, Temper 2, that is also still there in the memory. Let's see, PUBG Mobile. So opening up the Twitter, Zedge. Last way back to the internet browser where we left, and you can see. And guys, what I have to say regarding the apps opening speed. As you can see that the iPhone 14 Pro Max is performed faster in the boot up test, but in system-based applications the Samsung is faster, but in games the iPhone 14 Pro Max is is perform faster. We have a 2 or 3 second difference between these devices. So in terms of the RAM wise, in that area, both phones is performing excellent in the RAM management. Not a single refresh on both phones. Also, we have 5000 mAh battery size on the Samsung with a 45 watt fast charging support, but no charger in the box, while iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 4323 mAh battery size with a 20 watt fast charging support. Again, no charger in the box. So thank you so much for watching this speed test. I hope you like this video. So do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding between these two devices, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. And I will see you in my next video. Peace out.